All right. Welcome to the Ultra High Net Worth Clients Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Broadhead. We started this podcast as a way to create a central resource of the best financial advisor practice growing tips shared by the most outstanding advisors in the industry, of which our guest today is definitely one. These outstanding financial advisors agree to be on the show and provide a ton of value for free, all in the hopes that our audience might learn from their words. My father was an advisor, and financial advisors are the main client we serve. So, my marketing agency's mission is to help every financial advisor grow their business in an effort to help the world become more financially secure. Today, we have the rare pleasure of talking with an incredible financial advisor, Ashlea Jones. Ashlea, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. So I am
Yeah.
up in Iowa. I work with Prime Capital Financial. Have been in the industry for over 10 years. I think I'm at like 13 or something like that now. Not always in
Ah,
this role, but in the financial industry. So gone from sales side to the advising side, cut my teeth in some different ways that I'm sure we'll get into. But I'm
mm.
also married, have 3 kids, so I don't really sit still very often.
Yeah. Man, you are busy, wasting
Yeah.
no time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have you. Um, so I like to start the interview kind of like how did you get into this industry? How'd you get involved with this wild world?
Yeah, so it was definitely an accident. When I was in college, I was actually going to college in like the corrections field, specifically social work. So I've always liked
Hmm.
helping people. I've always liked, being able to help people see a world that maybe they have never been exposed to. I was finishing up my degree and not really knowing if I could really stomach that industry for the rest of my life. I did
Mm.
a couple of like practicum things where we went into homes of people that were struggling, and I just didn't really know if that's where I really wanted to be forever. So my husband was coaching track at the time, and I had a few cousins running track at the time. So I was just watching them, perform and compete, and I had an uncle happen to ask like how college was going. And, I confided in him all of those, like second guessing myself. And is that really what I want to do? He happened to be working with a captive insurance and mutual fund company, and invited me to a career seminar the next day that was like happened to be in the same town. So I went, and it was really that simple. I ended up finishing my degree in corrections, but decided that I was at least going to give this a shot. The income potential was much higher. The
Mm.
freedom, to work with who I want to and when I want to was much more appealing. Um, and then it was also just kind of a challenge. I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, okay, let's try it. I'm just trusting that you'll take me under your wing and teach me what I need to know. So that's how it all
Yeah,
started for me.
that's awesome. Yeah, and there's the helping component as well, you know.
Yeah.
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 It seems like
Especially,
yeah, good.
especially for people, where I'm from. I don't want to make it sound negative, but it can get kind of John Deere's like a really big factory around us. It can
Hmm.
kind of get just repetitive that like that's what dad did and that's all I know. So that's what I'm going to do. And, so being able to show people not only that there's other things out there, but that they can change their own like legacy or family tree just by making a few tweaks to their financial situation. I just love that. It's
Hmm.
very rewarding.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Um, so so what kind of lessons or guidance um did you receive that helped you, get traction when you're
Yeah.
first starting?
So when I first started, it was all about sales and production. Like I
Hmm.
said, it was a captive insurance agency. It was kind of like two or three products that we had, and we were like knocking on doors and cold calling just to say like, "Hey, let me come show it to you and see if you'd be a fit." Learned a ton about grit with that job. It was just a matter of creating activity. There was constant, not necessarily pressure, but constant check in of like, what do you have for activity coming up? What did you get closed? We always worked in partnership, so that was really good. So there was no single point of failure, but it was still at the end of the day, you get what, you kill what you, or you eat what you kill. You got to go out and hunt and create activity. Um,
Hmm.
I still use those features a lot today. It's just a matter of getting in front of people. And I think for a lot of newer advisors, that's really hard. That fear of being told no ends up like making you afraid to put yourself out there and try to talk to people. So getting over that, I'm very glad happened early for me. And then beyond that, that was the first place I was at. Now as a fiduciary and an independent, getting rid of that pressure of trying to sell something just to generate activity or generate production. Now it's a whole different pace where it's more like, I want to get to know you and have a foundation that we enjoy each other's company before we start talking about working together professionally.
Mhm.
But I don't think I would have appreciated that in this role if I didn't previously have the, pressured sales or like productive role. So
Mhm.
I've learned a lot from that, good and bad. It's definitely more fun now to meet someone, see what the gaps are, and then go to our toolbox to fill them rather than meeting someone and trying to find a way to fit my product into them. You know what I mean? Trying to put them in a box.
Mhm.
So, but it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about being creative and generating activity. And like I said, very useful tools still to this day.
Mhm. Yeah, that's incredible, and what a freaking, just intense way to learn,
Yeah.
the ropes for this field, like, door to door, like,
Yeah.
I gotta give you some props. That
Yeah.
takes, some courage.
Yeah, we used to do that and just either ask for appointments or like dinner seminars, just trying to get butts in the seat just to try to get word out that we were out there. And it definitely,
Mhm.
you got to get used to taking a no on the chin and then continue, go try again. And
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always been an athletic, so like a tenacity thing's not an issue, but it is mentally, it's way easier to stay home and not go try in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. Man, that'll thicken your skin real
Yeah,
quick. So,
yeah,
yeah, good for you. That's I can't think of a more challenging way entrance into this industry. So you definitely earned it.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So how did when did you transition to the advisory role?
Yeah, so I was with that company and I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the people I worked with, loved taking care of my clients. I was there for like 8 years and then they restructured. The guy who owned it passed away. The people who inherited it didn't really keep it the same way that it was. So I got out. It was actually about 5 years ago right now. Had a little non-compete in there that I had to deal with. So I actually went away for a couple of years where I did some trucking insurance sales. That's
Mm.
even more intense and high pressure and definitely taught me that I enjoy the investment side more than the insurance side. Um,
Mhm.
they were all great people. They were great. They took a chance on me, taught me a lot about that industry. And then an opportunity came up with these guys. There's only one office in Iowa with Prime Capital. And
Mhm.
they were looking for kind of a succession plan, someone to get in there and help maintain that existing book. Um, so again, I kind of hopped in without knowing anything. I have a mentor that works, he's a partner with the firm, and he was the one that brought it to me. We actually worked together previously and have known each other for a really long time.
Mhm.
Um, and he kind of promised that I just remember taking the phone call and being like, if you think I can do it, then I'll do it. But that's all I was, there was no knowledge or confidence behind that. And so he said yes, that he would take me under his wing and show me the ropes and help me get started. And that once I got past that initial phase, that he thinks I'd really be good at it.
Mhm.
So again, just kind of jumped in, went with the flow. So that was just over 3 years ago here that I've been here, and it's been like drinking from a fire hose ever since. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that seems to be a through line with a lot of your career paths there.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of fire hoses there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what an incredible compliment. Like he saw enough in you. He liked you enough. He's like, I want you to, protect my clients after I'm no longer serving them. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
And there was
that's
some there
incredible.
was some like ethical things in question in the office before I came in. So that was a giant compliment that they were like, we'll teach you what we need to know. We just need like an ethical stronghold to come in there. And that was my reputation in their eyes. That was a huge
Mm,
compliment. And, you know,
mhm,
to find someone that's willing to put their life on pause to take me under their wing and to be loyal back, you know, it means the world to me. Like they've always trusted me. They've let me be autonomous. They let me build with who I want at what pace I want because I do have
mhm,
young kids. My oldest is 10. He's 10, about 10 and a half right now. My second one is 7 and a half. And then I have a little girl that's 5. So, you know, I can have all the best intentions in the world and one of them gets sick and I've got to shut it down, you know? So
mhm,
they've just been great at letting me work at my pace and with who I want and not pushing it to make me fit into some mold. And so not only him, my mentor, his name is Joe, but then there's also a guy on our team, Taylor. He picks up a lot of the pieces if and when I need him to. And then the firm as a whole, you know, to trust me and to let me come in here and do what I need to do the way I need to do it. It means the world to me.
mhm. Wow, that's awesome. So, you said Joe is your, main
Mentor. Yep, and
mentor?
partner.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome, awesome. So, what did Joe kind of, impart on you that helped you, get traction in the financial advisor industry? What major lessons, have you taken from your time together?
Something I will always be grateful for about him. And it wasn't just him, also my first the uncle that I said started me from day one from the track meet. His name's
Mhm.
also Joe, so that'll be confusing.
So that's
Um,
convenient.
but I am very grateful that I came in under the wings of people that have very high standards. Um,
Mhm,
Joe, my partner now, was in mortuary affairs in the Air Force. He's
mm.
super detail oriented. We never take shortcuts. We never do something like that serves us ahead of the client. And that was
Mhm,
even before I was a fiduciary, when I was just in sales with the old company. It was like, don't ever do it for the reason of like getting a trophy or qualifying for a trip or whatever. And when he was in that position, he would have even gained from that, you know, but it was like, no, don't ever sell your soul to that. There's a million people in this industry that take those shortcuts or put themselves first and don't serve the client first. And I think as a new advisor, it'd be really easy to fall into that and get influenced by that. So they've always had a hugely high standard and like just never sell your soul to that, never take a shortcut. And I'm just so glad for that. You know, I like to think I would have operated that way anyway, but you know, when you
mhm,
come in and you're learning and you don't know if you're learning the right way or the shortcut way, you just don't know. Um,
mm, mhm,
so he's always had that super high standard, always been very loyal. And, you know, anytime me or our other teammate Taylor, if we get in a pinch, like, I don't know, I've just not seen this before. What would you do? Like, it's rare that he doesn't answer a phone call and like hold your hand and run through it with you. So
mhm,
very appreciative of that. There's no backing down, you know, from any of us, but especially from Joe.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a win-win,
Yes.
for both of you guys, because he's making sure that, a great person is continuing to watch over his, very
Yeah.
important clients, very precious clients, and then you're, drinking from the fire hose and just,
Yes.
getting the great insights,
That's
while
exactly
you
right.
figure it
And
out, so that's amazing.
I don't know if I ever would have jumped into this without that because, you know, it is a lot to learn. And so with him having like the background and the knowledge and the confidence, really all my job is to do is create activity and then we learn as we go. Where if I wasn't more confident, especially in the beginning and what I knew, I'd be afraid to kind of ask for people to trust me with their money if I knew that,
Mhm,
I'm not the best at all the answers yet, you know? So
mhm,
he kind of was that Band-Aid and that bridge for that because it's like I could just generate activity and then just by being in the appointments with him, you know, he would just teach me together. So he actually lives in Kansas City, which is about 5 hours from me, and he's even taken about once a month he comes up here and physically works with me and then a lot of things we can do virtually too. But he'll come run up here for 2 or 3 days where we just set from sun up to sundown and run meetings. And again, the fire hose situation. Like, I learned a lot in those days, but I definitely wouldn't have learned as quickly and as accurately, without him taking those sacrifices. So I
Mhm.
owe a lot to him. Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. Is he planning on stepping away fully
No,
at some
no.
point, or?
Well, I mean, yes, he's older and, probably closer to retirement goals than any of us, but it doesn't the horizon yet. He also has this son that's about to graduate college and our little
Mhm.
um so it's definitely a someday, but not yet. So far we
Mhm.
can still all help each other at the moment.
Got it. Got it. Awesome.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's having you help with his clients, and then you're finding new clients as well. Have you identified any niches or specific types of clients that you find yourself like better able to serve, more kind of easily connecting with?
Yeah. Yeah. So we probably as a firm and as a team focus on higher net worth.
Hmm.
Our firm is very good at giving us access to things that, especially in Iowa, nobody else is really seeking out access to. We have
Mm,
like some venture capital, private investments, equity plays, credit plays.
cool.
So for
Alternatives.
Yeah,
Nice.
so for anyone that's accredited and wants to get out of just following the stock market up and down, but doesn't necessarily want to run to an annuity, that's awesome. Like we do really good at smoothing out that volatility and people appreciate that. Um,
Hmm.
it is funny, like in Iowa, I don't know if it's a humble thing, but a lot of times they'll come in and not disclose as much as they really have. Like they'll put themselves in a smaller like net worth. And then of course, by way of conversation, we find out they have a lot more. So I don't necessarily focus on that as far as the activity I'm trying to generate. I'm just trying to put myself out there as if you have questions, I'm here. I don't care rollover or a $10 million sale of business. I just at least want a seat at the table. And then from there, we'll kind of discover whether or not we're a good fit, for whatever they're looking for. So again, my job, like the way I see it is just like generate activity and the people that are meant to stick with us will. And it's just knowing that I have the backing of the firm that we can serve them all the way up to the top.
Hmm.
Um, so it's very fun, very rewarding. And we definitely, again, good on our firm for going out and vetting those things to make sure that we're bringing the best things to the table for our clients.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's really exciting. A lot of our advisor clients are getting much more into alternatives.
Yeah.
It just seems like clients they're like they're like, wait, why are we investing in only stocks and bonds? Like
Yes.
that's such a small percentage of potential options out there.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, that's awesome. You guys are on the cutting edge there.
Yeah. Don't tell
All right.
anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Your secret's safe.
Yeah.
So for the high net worth customers you aim to serve, is there a specific way of kind of getting on their radar, building relationships with them, building awareness?
Yeah, so I mean none of it's foolproof. If it is, I would love to know, the thing
Hmm.
that gets everybody. Like I said, we've done dinner seminars. We targeted
Hmm.
those per net worth. We ended up getting a few results out of that. Also, some lead generation. We pay for a couple different lead generation services so that when people are out looking around, we at least again pop up as an option. Um,
Hmm.
with those people, I would say Joe and I are really good at being tenacious about following up. It seems like a lot of times people will try a couple times, don't get an answer, or they get like a not right now, and they're not good at following up.
Hmm.
Anything like that, you just kind of have to be a little bit of a psycho about you don't stop until you get like a yes or a no. And not
Hmm.
in an intrusive way, it's all with permission of the people that we're talking to, but it's like that tenacity. I mean, one guy, he came through as a lead. He owns a small business. We talked back and forth on the phone for almost 18 months. Finally, I just went to his business and I purchased something and I saw him and I was like, "Hey, just to put a face to a name, I'm Ashley, put this all together. So whenever you're ready to pull the trigger, you at least know who you're talking to. And, they're clients, they're great clients. But like, I
Mm,
think a lot of people wouldn't have gone that extra step. So when I say we have lead generation, it's great, but that didn't seal the deal. It was still on us, to go chase
mhm,
that thing down. And then I also do a couple different, like we have a website where people kind of have a call to action to set meetings with us, and I get that out there. I have like a newspaper. The town that I'm from, there's one side that's about 1,000 people, and then another chunk that's a couple thousand people. I mean, these are really small communities.
mhm,
So we have our own little newspapers, and I've started to write like a full page newsletter in there every month. So sometimes it might be, this next one is like, hey, R&B season's coming up. What does that mean for you? And then other times it's just, here's who I am and what I'm up to lately. And just a reminder, this is what I do. So if something's on the horizon, don't be afraid to give us a call and we'll give you a free look, or, so there's a couple little roots out there. You just never know where it's going to come from. We have some really good referrals too from the people, that we've taken care of, which is always like the highest compliment. Um,
mhm.
but you just don't ever, I guess, try something and sit in your office and wait for the phone to ring. You have to constantly be putting yourself out there because people are inundated with a million different things. And, once in a while it's luck. And then sometimes it's because you really deserve it because you worked hard to get to that point.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I love your tenacity. I love that word.
Yeah.
So I own a marketing agency that serves financial advisors, and we get the leads, we warm them up, we send them to them, and then they're like, I don't know, they're not closing, and I'm like, well, I can't do anything else.
Right. Right.
So, my question to you is, did you read any books? Did you watch YouTube videos? Did you practice? Like, do you have any closing strategies, like lead working strategies, any strategies in that realm that you think have helped you to close leads
I
better?
I definitely do, but they're not like sales related. Again, it's a
Yeah.
little bit intense and a little bit crazy for some people, I think. So the kind of books that I listen to, one that I love is called Endure by Cam Haynes. And the title
Hmm.
kind of says it all. Like if it was easy, everyone would do it. And he has a saying, like I have a t-shirt from him that says, nobody cares, work harder. So it's like, it's just like about falling in love with the process. Like if you just had the biggest sale of your life, like have short-term memory, like celebrate your win,
Hmm.
get your butt back in it. And same thing with if the biggest sale of your life just fell through, like get back in it, keep moving. Another one is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I love that one. It's all just that
Hmm.
mindset of like quit waiting for someone else to do it for you. Um,
Yeah.
Again, I'm a hunter, so that again, I know that's probably more intense for some people, but it's like you get what you kill and no one's coming to save you. Like that's just the mindset I have. And same with this business. Like we're very resource rich as a firm, but it's like I'm not coming in here waiting for that. It's like, we're only going to generate what we generate. And again, once in a while we get a referral or a lead, and that's just icing on top of the cake, but by no way are we sitting here waiting for it. Um, and like I said, whether it's a call, if a lead comes in for me, I always call them the second I get the email. Because they would have just submitted their information, and then follow up with an email, follow up with my website. And then if we're not getting luck that way, they kind of go into like a email drip that our marketing department helps with just some content that they can opt into, opt out of, whatever. And then if there's ever a day where it's like I've kind of got everything done and I've got an hour to kill, that's the first thing I do. Go back to that list. I don't care if that lead is 3 years old and has never answered my phone. I'm calling them again, just to see. You just
Wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely anytime I'm sitting still, that's the sheet that I go to is all of my open leads and just try again. And you wouldn't believe how many times it comes through.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm stealing that actually.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's so perfect. It's like, all right, I got, an hour and no
Yeah.
meetings and all my tasks are done. Like, oh, I'll just keep reaching out to that
Yeah.
that lead, those
Yeah.
leads. that
and see what happens.
I
Yep.
have. Yeah,
If nothing
yeah,
else,
that's
you get really
awesome.
good at practicing phone calls.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, great, great. So we, want to respect your time. Um, I want to ask uh about kind of like family work balancing. It sounds like you have or I mean, you have a husband, you have three kids.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I, it sounds like you're able to balance that pretty well. That's incredible. Um, we I think a big aspect of this show is we want to encourage more folks to go the kind of independent route,
Yeah,
just because there's so much more. From my perspective, I don't want to speak for everyone else,
I
but
agree.
so
Yeah,
much more opportunity, so much more
yeah.
flexibility. My guest on Tuesday, he went independent, and it meant a 2-hour commute was no longer a weekday activity. And I
Mhm.
was like, "That's enough in itself there."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, so I guess my question is, like, what does it mean to you? Like, how valuable is it to you to be an independent rather than, more traditional wirehouse, advisor?
Yeah, same thing. Means the world. Like I said, whether it means I get to be there for my kids because I'm the one creating the activity and organizing the schedule, it'd be really hard for me to ever go back to someone telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Same say the school calls and my kid is sick. When I have to answer to someone and say like, "Hey, my kid is sick, I gotta go," that's still harder than just like, okay, I call a client and say, "Hey, this came up. Are you okay with moving it around?" The clients always give you grace, where even if I had an employer that gave me grace, it's still just like, ugh, you just feel bad.
Mhm.
And I have 3 kids,
Yeah.
so that could last a whole month. They pass it to each other. Um, but so that freedom is amazing. The like you hit the nail on the head with like going independent. What I did before being captive was always trying to fill a need that maybe wasn't necessarily there, but like my income and my production and my stature relied on it, We're now being
Mhm.
independent, there's the pressure is completely off. Sometimes we take anywhere from 1 to 4 meetings to even get to know someone. Like, again, I'm not rushed. It's not like get the check, like it used to be. It's like I definitely wanna have a foundation of, like, you feel I'm the best fit for you and that I feel like you're a good fit for me. I'm not, I don't want some person that I dread every time you're coming in for a review. We just don't have to do that anymore.
Mhm.
So it's all, I think the world just definitely opens up. And I like that we're going that way. I don't know how you can say you're acting in the best interest of the client if you're working for some sort of like wirehouse or captive
Mhm.
company that only has a menu of products that are pertinent to them and their brand.
Right. Right.
If you're really
Yeah.
in the best interest of the client, then you should be able to grab the world. And that's
Mhm.
what I love about this is a
Yeah.
totally different
Yeah.
level of service.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, the beauty of the fiduciary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. And I
Yeah,
wish
that's awesome.
that there was more, I always anytime I explain that being a fiduciary, like again, it's like an Iowa nice thing maybe, like that's how we were supposed to do it. But I think people get
Yeah.
tracked by incentives. It's like, oh, if I get another sale, I get this. And even though it's for their family and for their, success, it's not always the best thing. So those incentives can wrap us up and then pretty soon we're doing the wrong thing for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
So yeah, it sucks that we're in a world where we have to explain what a fiduciary is, and that's just not the way we are. But it is. So
Yeah.
I
Yep.
try to take that very, very seriously.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ashley, this has been an absolute pleasure. My final question is an open-ended question. You can take it in any direction that you like. And the question is, what are you working towards?
Working towards right now, we just submitted all of our goals. So a couple things, individually, I'm just still trying to grow. I'm trying to clip away at a percentage of growth every year. Um, and just always making sure that I'm serving. So now I'm the only one in this office. And it's really important that I'm continuing to bring value, that they justify the expense of having an office here. Um, so that's all good. I just want to stay on that good side. And then I would also love to inherit either maybe a small like family office type of thing, or just another advisor or two, because I actually live about an hour away from where my office is. So when I come in, they're two very separate communities. I just love the ability to open up another one and then have some people keeping a pulse on this area. So there's a couple things on the radar, and whether we're just making sure that they're good fits. Iowa is very notorious for insurance annuities. So there's tons of representatives around here, not a ton of financial advisors. So we want it to be someone who, again, is a good fit, has good morals, has good ethics, and then can get into that, that activity creation. Someone who can really bet on themselves and run with it. So that's always in the background. It's definitely not a main focus because I have to take care of my own book too.
Mhm.
But that would be ideal, as if within the next couple of years we had a few more people under the roof that can help us run it, because we're
Mhm.
definitely there's no lack of confidence in our firm and in what we do. It's just a matter of getting more voices out there.
Mhm. That's awesome. Well, you guys, it sounds like you have a really strong culture. So,
Yeah,
it sounds like you're definitely on the road to that. So that's awesome. Ashley, where can my audience find out more about you?
so actually, if you Google my name and if you spell it correctly, there's a really cool girl. She's in Canada and she trains hockey players. So you can check
Oh.
her out too. But if you don't click on her name, mine will be the right next there with it. So it's Prime Capital. My website is pciacedarrapids.com for Prime
Mhm.
Capital Investment Advisor, Cedar Rapids.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I believe that's how you and I connected, on LinkedIn there. So, anything like that, if you're in Iowa and you're considering, or if you're not in Iowa and want to take a virtual meeting, we always do free looks where it just takes about an hour of your time to show you what we do, learn a little bit more about you, and decide if it's a good fit. So we
Mhm.
try to keep it as low pressure as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And we'll be sure to link to all that in the show notes. Actually, thank you so much. This was a real pleasure. I'm stealing some of your sales techniques. So this is
Perfect.
freaking awesome. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. To all our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in and keep on growing out there, everybody. See ya.